Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is a bit of a different video from previous weeks. So for today, I thought I would take you into a dive down memory lane, so to speak, looking at some older planners that I have that didn't quite work out for me. So I nicknamed this my trove of failed planners. Though you could also call it like a trip down memory lane for lessons and stuff. Lessons. The idea is just simply that because we have so many decisions to make on what planners to get for 2024, that I thought it would be nice to look at some older planners to kind of see where I came from, I guess. It's kind of like the older planners that I tried that didn't quite work and how it influenced the choices of which planners I did end up choosing and did end up using. So without much further ado, I am gonna kind of just hop to it. So the first one that I'm going to start with is the most recent one actually would be this fellow over here. So this is my let me move this out of the way. This is my Tokyo Station Traveler's Factory insert. You may have seen this in earlier videos this year. It was my ink journal when I first started, and I bought this stamp from Kodomo no Kao, I want to say, and Kodomo no Nao. Anyway, it's from Stickerific. It's a Japanese brand stamp, and essentially this was supposed to be a collection of the inks that I have, the price, how many ml there's in a bottle, so that I know like the price per milliliter, and then also a writing sample. And the idea was that I would have more writing samples as time went by, so that I would have an idea of what it looked like in different pens, which all sounded well and great until I discovered another idea, and this didn't quite work out anymore. So eventually this layout has been split into two different journals. So this insert is now defunct, so to speak. So I'm going to show you what I end up doing with this, and maybe you can, as in like with the contents of this, and maybe it will give you some ideas on if you like fountain pens. So my fountain pen inks have been split into two, as in the swatches, the journaling has been split into two different places. So I have this Hobonichi Teco from this year, and this is the spring edition, but honestly you can use any Teco, it doesn't matter, or any dated journal with daily pages, I guess that will work. So I have done an entire video on this previously, and you can take a look at that there. But essentially I have my swatches here, and then I have my writing samples in here, and that's essentially it. That is not rocket science. So over time I will fill this out with more, what do you call this? I'll fill it out with like more writing samples. These are just copies from like whatever book that I have on hand. This is from the Crossroads of Shit and Must, which I love. There are other quotes from Big Magic, which I also love. Stuff like that basically. And yeah, so this is my ink writing sample journal. So this is one. And then I split it into two because I also want something to track which inks I actually own. So in this one, I do have writing samples of inks that were given to me in sample valves. Is Mark Beller S over here. So this is written. So these are. I mean, when you get an ink valve, honestly, if you don't ink it up fully, you are capable of getting quite a number of fills from it. So as in different pens. So I mean, if it's a full vial of like 5 ml, you can probably get it in at least 3 pens if you don't like fill it to the max. Of course, if like I put like 1 point something ml into a twist bead, to the max, and I may only be able to get like 3 pens, but like, and if it's a small sample, even less. But if I'm just putting in like just a little bit to get a writing sample, and just for like a few pages, that's also fine. So this is so that fellow over there is for all the inks that I have, so including samples, including stuff that I own. This is for things that I only own, so it's a bit different. This is more for me to take with me when I travel, when I'm shopping, so I know what I have already. So in the front I have my swatches for washi, and because I don't plan on having that much washi, I collect stuff, but I don't like having that much stuff. So I actually split this insert into two. So the front half is for washi, the back half is for fountain pen ink. So I made myself like a little cover page here. And then I have a little content page where I have all the tiny little swatches. And then further down, I use the stem again. And this is where I essentially will slowly fill this in as I ink up pens with the respective inks. And I will have, this record over here of like how much things cost and what I have already. But the easy one would honestly be just flipping here and like, so if I go to the store, like for example, if I go to Tink at Funan, which is my favorite place to go to buy inks because Poison Man is very good at poisoning me with inks. I just resisted the other day. Thankfully, the second time I went back, he wasn't like working, so I managed to avoid more poison, even though I'm a bit sad about it. Yeah, but anyway, so I can bring this along and like I can test inks at wherever I go, and I'll be able to see like is there something that's like incredibly similar that I therefore probably should resist getting, or is it something that I don't have already? Otherwise, I'm gonna end up with a lot of one color. Like for example, I have a lot of dark orange. So I have Vinta Blaze, I have Christmas tea, I have Hana tea, I have Higashiyama, Vaikari, and Jungle Volcano. Like all these are like all my dark oranges, and like I probably shouldn't buy that much dark orange anymore. So this is useful for bringing around, and it's also a lot smaller than, and less chunky compared to this fellow over here. Yep. So these two are essentially what has replaced this. So this is kind of, if you want to call it a field journal, you can. It worked for a time, but I did figure out something better. So, oh well. So it's a bit sad because this is like from Tokyo Station, but I guess I can use it for scrap paper. It is good paper, so I can use it for scrap paper for practicing whatever or testing out layouts. So yeah, that's the latest one. So in terms of specific journals as well, you may have seen this is my what do you call this is the weekly insert for a weekly supplement for Hobonichi A6. So I actually bought this with the intention of doing Japanese journaling, so like writing down what I did each day, kind of like in point form, because that's the amount of space I have here. And while I did keep up with it for a bit, and it was quite fun, like, to put stickers down and all. Unfortunately, I feel like I kind of fell off the wagon, and it's just really way too hard to climb back on at this point. It's a lot of work because it's in a whole other language, and I honestly overestimated like myself and my ability to keep up with this, because I was thinking, oh, it's such a slim little column, it should be fine. Yeah, it was not fine. I haven't written in this since like early March, and even then, like, I have many spreads even before early March that haven't been filled because I got this in February. So yeah, it's kind of sad, but I guess the lesson here is that when it comes to dated stuff, I really need it to either be highly functional or it needs to be easy to catch up with, and this is not. So what I decided to do for 2024, which I will get into more detail later on, was to get a weeks instead. So I got, which sounds a bit counterintuitive, but hear me out. So I purchased it yesterday, but I don't really want to open it up yet. So I'm just going to use my current weeks to give you an idea of the layout. So this is the layout of a Hobonichi weeks, like just the week section. And what I'm planning to do here is that I will do my practice here, and this is for vocabulary. So that's it. Nothing, no rocket science about it. Just like couple of sentences what I did that day, highlight of the day or something. And because it's highlight of the day is a very broad topic, I don't have to go into too much nitty-gritty detail. I do not feel the need to go into detail, because here I would feel like I need to search exactly what I did on that day and, like, how to fill it in, and there's also the fact that I would like to keep the layout aesthetically pleasing and so on and so forth, consistent. So there's a bit too much pressure on myself, whereas like if it's just a couple of lines here, I think that it's something that I would be able to keep up with a lot better. So that is the plan for my Japanese journal for 2024. So this fellow over here is now kind of defunct, because there's no way I'm going to be able to catch up with this on top of everything else that I need to do by the end of the year. So I sadly have to relegate this to a pile somewhere. I haven't really decided what to do with it because it's dated. There's nothing. It's a bit hard to do anything with it. So I may or may not. I mean, I haven't quite decided what to do with this yet. Yeah. So that is that's the specific journal stuff. Now I want to show you like some other journals so that kind of fail over the years, so that to give you an idea that I guess of what doesn't work for me, so maybe you can relate that with things that didn't work for you either, and like how it can, how do I put this, it's kind of like looking at stuff that didn't work for me previously to see how I end up where I am today, right? So I'm going to show you some journals that date back from 2020 because I don't really want to go and dig out my archive box for the really old ones. They're also not really that relevant to this particular conversation. So I'm just going to show you the journals that I kind of like tried and failed over the years, and how I ended up with the journal that I end up using for this year, and kind of like also what I'm going to be using next year, sort of, because it's not here yet, but it's a similar, the format would be similar because I do like what I have been using this year. Right, so without much further ado, this is going to be a bit messy. So in 2019, I bought, this is a bit far back. So in 2019, I bought this. This is the Kokuyo Jibun Teko, and the great part about this that I like was that it started in November. So the idea when I bought this, and I was doing artsy journaling still at the time, was that I would be able to test this layout and see whether it will work out for me, like for work, for all the things that I wanted to do. And if it didn't work out, that's okay, because like that's like in November, December, and clearly it did not work out because look at the number of pages. Like I was really consistent with it at first, like it worked out pretty well. And where did it go? Like, it was pretty consistent at first, like different colors and all, but it started tapering off and like it just didn't work out, so I stopped using it. And instead what I used it for was a continuation of like my artsy journaling, which I desperately need to catch up on. I just need to fill this up and put it in the archive at this point. But yeah, so that was this. So I tried a vertical weekly layout, and it didn't work. An entirely vertical weekly layout for me, and it didn't work because it's way too structured. So this ended up being something else. So this was like the first attempt at something different that kind of failed. Then what I ended up doing for 2020 was actually going back to, I guess, like my roots, so to speak, that since that didn't work out, and I just went with a standard Leuchtturm. So this is a style of journaling that has evolved for me since I started doing bullet journaling in 2014, which is a very long time ago, I know. So what I did was that so I had like the standard future log. I also had like a quarters at a glance, so that I could have, and then future quarters at a glance, because sometimes you have like appointments that are really far out. And then I did like these quarterly, but as you can see at this point already, I was struggling to keep up with it, because these were supposed to be for appointments, for time logging and stuff like that, and I wasn't keeping up with it very well. Like this was supposed to be for so this was supposed to be for appointments and schedules, and this was supposed to be for events, like full day stuff, or like social media planning, if I'm not wrong. And this was like tasks divided by like the week, so to speak, like your top 3 of the week and all that, but like at a glance, so you could like plan out your entire quarter, which sounded like a great idea at the time, but as you can see, I barely used it. It was quite a mess. So even the day-to-day, like I only started using this in June, because like April, May, I just did not use this. So it was quite a mess. Like I was already struggling. Like I got back on here a while, and then like I stopped again. So I was really struggling in this journal in 2020. I think in part because it was COVID, and every day was basically the same thing. It was work, and it was just a lot of work, because it was the period where everybody was sending gifting stuff, so we're just slammed every day at work, and like it was just really, really exhausting. And yeah, so I essentially decided that I mean, at this point, I was just like drowning, right? So I was just trying my best to like, yeah, stay alive, kind of getting burnout and stuff like that. So it was, as you can see, like a lot of things like got half filled, and but I kind of like hit my stride towards the end of the year, where I had like these layouts. So I had like I fell into doing vertical uh vertical weeklies, ironically, but because they were not scheduled, they were just like, blank rows. They somehow worked out for me because I had the space to do like appointments on top, and then I had space for like a list of things below. So they started like it started working out really well, and for given version of kind of working well, and because it worked well enough, and like it did work out well enough for me. And the only quibble I had with it was that when appointments change, I would get really frustrated because I want to move the whole thing down. So what I ended up doing was that for 2021, I decided to stop doing this and to buy a dated planner instead, because I was literally drawing this every week. So I was like, you know what, let's get a dated planner that has a similar layout, and hopefully we'll be fine. So I have like, I would say a good 2/3 of this notebook left that has not been used yet, which is a pity. But I have no idea what to use it for, because clearly I'm not going to come back to this layout, right? So at that point, I purchased a Mozari, and this is a Malaysian brand. Sorry, I just realized my cat's butt is in frame. She is taking a nap. So this is a Mozari full year planner, and it's a Malaysian brand that I purchased this directly through them, I think. I can't remember. But anyway, just for fun. The cover doesn't come like this. I actually decorated it for fun. And their layout is quite interesting, I'd say. Let me find one that's relatively blank, because like I said, this is a exercise in things that did not work out. So the layout is pretty interesting in that there is a vertical section on top. There's a column at the side here for like, highlights, focus tasks, I guess. And then there's space below here for you to make whatever list you want. So I thought it would be great because I could yeet like my appointments in by like, time, and then any scheduled tasks I could time block up here, and then I could also have like lists below as and when as I like it. So this actually worked out for me pretty well in 2021 actually. Like if you look at like the first half of it. So this is actually not like a bad example, but the reason why I'm showing this is because it ended up being a bad example. So in 2021, as you can see, like it worked out pretty well for me. But towards the end of the year, I started faltering, where like I'll do a bit and then I'll falter, and then like likewise like in October, I made it, and like I made like this entire spread and I didn't use it all, and then I used it a bit, and then November again, halfway I kind of just like went like oops, and I think December I didn't use it at all again. So it's kind of silly that I did this, that like it started like faltering, and like ironically, despite the fact that I was faltering on this, I purchased this exact same planner for 2022. So I don't have pictures, I don't have a copy of it because it was so frustrating to look at that. It's not even something I want to keep to archive because it was that empty, and like because it's dated, I can't really reuse it. So I kind of put it into recycling when I moved, so I don't have it anymore. But I bought the half year version for 2022. So I had like half the year in the cover, and then in the other half I had like a blank notebook. But the problem with that was that I just didn't keep up with it. A lot of it ended up sitting blank. I don't think I even used the second half, besides like putting in the important dates and then just let it sit there and collect dust. So 2022 was just like, it just didn't really work out for me that way. So I ended up going like, okay, this planner is not working. It's clearly not working out for me. So what do I do now? So for that particular planner, what I did was that at that point I was like, okay, you know what? Dated planners haven't been cutting it for like, you've been trying dated planners for basically the last 2 years. It hasn't really been working out for you. Let's go back to what really, really works. And so I went back, all the way back to what I was doing in 2015, 2014, 2015, which was I would have back then it was like a grid notebook, and I would draw my own monthlies. So I would have like my appointments on the monthlies, and then like after that I would just do, where's December? So I would just have this. So I would have like my appointments, I'll have my tasks, I'll have, it's just the most old school thing ever. So this was my December, and I did it like December was really busy, so I didn't really make that many lists, but like I felt like it was working out pretty well for me. So I figured, what the heck, let's just do it for, you know, the rest of 2023, and it has been working out fantastically for me actually, because as you can see that I've kept up entirely. The only thing that I haven't truly kept up with would be ever since like July, August, like the sleep tracker. Like previously I filled it up entirely, as you can see, with appointments and stuff, but in since August, July and August, I haven't really been filling it up. Like September has been blank, so this month October I just omitted it entirely, and that's fine because like I didn't waste a page at all. So I'll be continuing this style of planning in 2024, definitely, just in a slightly different journal, maybe with slight changes, but yeah. So I'm not going back to dated planning exactly again. Yep. So yeah, so this is more of an archive journal than a failed trove journal, but like, you know, I'm using it as an example. So the last two journals in my pile are this, what's this? This 90-day journal from Blog Lattes, which is for it's a fitness journal, and my Hobonichi Taiko from 2021. So these two were purchased separately. This was they were purchased at kind of the same time, and I tried this one first, and I fell off. I don't really want to flip too much into it because I feel bad, given that I'm pretty sure the layouts are supposed to be special and proprietary to a certain extent, so I'm not going to flip too much into it. But essentially, it's like every day there are things that for you to track your meals, your health, your exercises, and so on and so forth. There are check-ins and all that, which is great. It's all tabbed like for like the 12 weeks, 13 weeks actually, because 90 days kind of eats into 13 weeks. But unfortunately for me, I only kept up to about week 4 or week 5 with like the stuff in here, so it didn't really work out for me because, again, this is a daily dedicated journal, and maybe I just wasn't dedicated enough, right? Or maybe just for me, daily things don't work out. So I kept this because I might want to go back and try this again at some point, but personally for me, this has not worked out just yet, right? So this is another case of daily dated stuff. Even actually not even daily dated, just one page a day does not work for me, because if I miss a day, I feel really bad, and then I just stop altogether, which is not how it should be. Like, yeah. So this one was kind of a failure for me personally, and this one is even more of an epic an epic fail. So this was bought slightly later. This was bought in I want to say October 2020 for 2021, and it was the first time I was buying a cousin, and the idea for this was quite hilarious. So I had no plans for the monthly at all, but I had plans for the weekly, and I thought that I could do the weekly art journaling thing, like the one I showed you in the Jibun Taiko, and I could do what do you call it? I could do artsy journaling here, and then this was meant to be entirely like journaling stuff, not like practical at all. And then for daily dated pages, I would like do some writing, just train of thought, whatever came to mind like for that day. So there was one day where I did like this was when I started like the 90-day challenge again, and like, you know, your body stats and all that, and then like yoga notes, how I felt about doing certain kinds of things, my thoughts on food, my thoughts on clothes, you know, like it was really about, I guess, like body and food and health and that kind of thing, like things around like physical health and a bit of mental health. But as you can see, I kind of got really tired of writing about it. Like I don't have enough content about it, think about this all day. And yeah, so I had like a check-in here with myself, Yeah, so I clearly fell off the bandwagon, and then like it started being like I would miss many days until like it was time for a check-in, or it was time to like check in on my closet, and I would miss so many days because I just simply didn't have time or energy to go and do this. Basically, this was meant to be day 62, but like for some reason I put 33, and it was meant to be like on some other page. Yeah, I miss or something like that. I'm not really sure at this point. Yeah, so right, what was I trying to say? Right, so basically this is what it is, and essentially I can't do daily pages. That's what this has taught me. Like the number of blank pages in this notebook is extremely sad. Like if I would do this, like look at like it's just honestly like the glimpses of things that you're seeing here, like the sketches and the lettering that's like peeping out here and there. These are things that I added like much later on because I had nothing to do with this notebook after that, because the dates have passed, and like redating all this would be a nightmare. So, and also what will I use it for? So this has now been relegated to a notebook where I do quotes, etc., sketches, right? So when I need grid paper and I want to sketch out an idea or something, or if I just want nice paper to write on, I just grab this. That's what it's for. It's a very expensive scrap paper notebook. So what this one has taught me was that I can't do daily journaling this way. Like the daily pages part, if I miss it, that's too much. It's the commitment, and then the fear of failure is too much. So what I did after this, and the thing is that while I was doing this, I was concurrently also doing long form journaling in like my regular journals. So what I realized was that this works a lot better than this, like where the pressure is off, where the pages are just blank and I can just fill it with whatever I want. That's a lot better for me because I'm not restrained to a page. I can run on for like 3, 4, 5 pages if I need. I can do half a page if I need, and that's good enough. So that's what I decided to do for like moving forward. I just went back to what worked, and this was an experiment that just didn't work out for me. So daily pages for me, I have learned, is something that simply doesn't work, or at least not daily pages the size of like an entire page. Like no, it just doesn't work for me. So that kind of like informed my decisions for my lineup for 2023. I did think about all this when I picked my lineup for this year, as in this current year, where I had this, I had my weeks, which I added on later. I also have my my 5-year, which is in here. So all this informed like my decisions for 2023, including, I mean, in terms of dated planners especially, all this informed my decisions, and they do also inform my decisions for the upcoming year in 2024 and the lineup that I intend to take then. So that's a video for another time though. So that's a whole other video. So I'm still waiting on a couple of things to come before I do a full what's my setup for next year video, and I'll definitely do that. I'm really excited to do that. I'm waiting on my Sterling Income planner before I film that. They are QCing the A6 now, so I have hope that it will be with me maybe by the end of the month if I'm lucky, if not the end of next, maybe middle of next month, because I mean from the US to Singapore it does take a fair bit of time, so we shall see. I am quite excited to do that. I'm also waiting on stickers for the setup, but I may actually just skip that entirely, like skip the stickers entirely, because yeah, I'm sorry, my cat just decided that she needs to lick her ass and film. Luna, alright, so that's about it for today. I think Her Majesty wants some attention, so I am going to go hang out with a cat, and I will see you next week for another video. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet, but I hope you enjoyed this little peek into planners that didn't work out for me, and hopefully it gives you some inspiration to look at what has and hasn't worked for you over the years, and I guess inform your own decisions for your planner choices for next year. That's about it from me, I guess. I'll catch you next week. Bye.